It's that time again for another not-so-normal gaming podcast, featuring your hosts, MrTechnoSqueek.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Nostalgic Dan 1.
Everything I feel is in this sword. Good.
Come on!
And Quick Freeze 4.
Don't worry. I'll handle the bad guys.
This is a podcast you want to listen to, but first, you gotta press start.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Press Start Podcast, episode 29. And today we're joined with Cliva, Quick Freeze 4. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, see, I didn't say fantastic.
Until now.
I might.
Till now, yes. So, and that voice right there, the beautiful, nostalgic Dan 1. How are you?
You call me beautiful. Not fantastic.
And we do have a guest, and
Hey.
our guest is the Completionist. How are you doing?
Living the dream.
That's always nice.
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Squeak. Thanks for asking.
So, tell us about your YouTube channel and, what you do and all that jazz.
Not a problem. Well, basically, what my YouTube channel is that it was a channel started a couple of years ago, and I go into great detail on how to take video games from all different generations and show people how to complete them to 100%. I go into great detail about how to obtain every ending, get every treasure chest, or like any other secrets that each game has. And I decided to do this idea because when I started the channel, I didn't really see many YouTube videos about how to complete games, and since that has always been an aspect of me since I've been playing games as a kid, I love to complete games, so I thought it would make a great idea for an actual YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's really cool. It takes a lot of dedication to beat some of those.
Well, you have to be a glutton for punishment for it, but unfortunately, one of the drawbacks right now is that I am currently working away from home, so I don't get a chance to get home very often. And unfortunately, back in my hometown is where my camera and all my video editing softwares too. So I'm lucky if I only get home 3 times a year. So I don't get a chance to make as many videos as what I used to, but I have no intentions of ever shutting the channel down anytime soon, because I do actually like to make the videos. For the most part, the only thing you'll ever see me on my channel when I'm away is that if I do get a weekend off, I do a blog TV episode in which I ask anybody if they want to know anything regarding completing games, or if they want my personal opinions about a variety of gaming subjects, because while I currently work away from home, that's the only true way I can interact with the YouTube gaming community with regards to videos. It kind of sucks that I have to be away from home to work, but unfortunately the bills need to be paid, and unfortunately the channel has to take a back seat. But every time that I do get a chance to go home, I try to get at least 2 to 3 videos up, because I'm grateful for all my friends, keeping the channel active, and just checking on me just to see how I'm doing.
How many games would you say you've completed, like 100%?
Well, I keep a tally on Backloggery, but I haven't put every game that I've completed to 100%, so I think right now, pretty much growing up, I probably have anywhere between 50 to 100 games completed.
Wow.
For me, I just have a massive backlog, and it's just when you start to build a backlog, you start to become more adapted to settling. Once you beat the game, oh, I'm done, I don't need to do anything else. But a lot of these games still have a lot of extras, so yeah.
Well, the way I look at it is I have a tremendous backlog, but Since I'm finding, especially in the current age of gaming, that there are just less and less things appealing to me. Like the way I look at it is that when I eventually retire, then I am going to have all the time in the world to actually complete the games that I want. Because the only systems I have up where I'm working to right now is my 3DS and my PSP, and that's it. The only bad thing about it is that I don't think I'm going to be able to complete a lot of games for the Xbox 360 and the PS3, because by the time I get around to playing them, then the servers will be shut down. And
yeah, that's true.
And all these trophies that you need to be online to get them, I won't be able to get them. But, the way I look at it is I don't let the gaming industry dictate what I should play. It's just that, it's kind of unfortunate that like a lot of things are online and DLC and stuff like that. But unfortunately, the gaming industry, it's all about money right now. And I'll just play the core game. If that's all I'm left with after all the servers shut down when we move into the next generation, then I'm perfectly okay with that.
So if you played like a game like Skyrim, you would just play the main story right now?
Yeah, pretty much, because I wouldn't be able to play Skyrim right now because technically, according to what I've read, is that the game doesn't really end. The thing is that you can complete the main story, but basically the online server keeps putting in new quests all the time, and that's kind of one of my ground rules when it comes to playing games. It's one of the reasons why I don't play MMOs. It's not because they're bad games. It's just that for me, the one fundamental rule for me to enjoy a game is that it has to have an ending. It can't last forever. I can't play a game that is just going to last forever and ever and ever and ever, because it just doesn't appeal to me. I need to have that ending and that satisfaction that I did everything that I could in the game. And basically, once I have it completed, guys, I retire it to the shelf. I never touch it. I never play it again, because I've done everything in the game, and there's really no need for me to play it again.
Well, what's like one of the games you completed that you would say you had like the most, kind of feeling of accomplishment for beating it like 100%?
Okay, with regards to getting the entire thing completed, once I get Rogue Galaxy completed, that's going to be quite an accomplishment, because I'm going to have to push about 350 hours to do it. But it took me 225 hours to fully complete Final Fantasy X, and that's only because of the goddamn Blitzball.
That's a distraction.
Other games, basically getting Final Fantasy VII completed, that took a good while. But I think my most recent accomplishment was getting Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Oh, that was such a great game.
I logged in about 201 hours to complete it. I have played the other Kingdom Hearts games before, but when it came to fighting the secret bosses in that game, it really frustrated me how difficult they were, especially the mysterious figure.
Oh, yeah.
I used to watch the videos, I used to read the game facts, I used to abide by the strategies that they provided, but it doesn't make that boss any easier. Especially when he can kill you in 2 hits.
Yeah. Now, they're like, now you do that a lot? Do you look up game facts? Do you buy strategy guides to help you complete the game?
Absolutely. A lot of the games that I do play, I use strategy guides. The only time I will never use a strategy guide is that if I know there are 0 missables in the game, or if a strategy guide is not needed. And the perfect example I can give you is Advance Wars: Days of Ruin. You don't really need a guide to basically complete that game, because there isn't really that many secrets. You just complete the story mode and you beat every map. But I know a lot of people say, well, if you read a guide and you read a fact, then you're kind of ruining the game. Not really for me, because I read spoiler-free FAQs, and I never read how to fight a specific boss unless I have to steal something from the boss, if the boss only has a one-of-a-kind item. So the games aren't really spoiled for me, but I don't allow the games to be spoiled for me, but in all honesty, there are some games that you absolutely need a guide for that I don't know how you would discover the secret or knowing which enemy has the item.
Without it, yeah.
Yeah, without it.
Now, like, do you go after, like, say, like, there was, like, a rumor of a game, you know, just somebody makes something up. Would you be the type of person to go after that secret and see if it's true?
Unless it was 100% confirmed that it is true. I can't base things upon speculation because I kind of feel like I'm wasting my time.
Okay. Now, I was just asking because I was recently just watched I watched that Pulp Fiction on that GameTrailers.com, and they do that all the time where, like, somebody makes something up, and that's their goal, is to find out, see if it's true or not. So that's kind of like what you do, but, you know, you're saying you want it confirmed before you actually look for it.
Yeah, because basically, like, I don't want to run the risk of, you know, just basically, like, putting 40 to 50 hours extra into a game to do something that I don't even know is there or not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is the reason why that I always stay a couple of generations behind when it comes to playing games, unless I know the game that I'm playing for this current generation, that I know that everything has pretty much been confirmed. Because the game that I'm currently trying to complete right now is Mario Kart 7. And guys, I hate to say it, but playing online on that game is addicting. It's like crack.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got, like, I already got, like, 230 hours in that game.
Yeah.
So
There were
so
points where
basically,
I was just gonna say there were points where we were playing that game for like 7 hours straight. Like we'll stay up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when we first playing that.
and it's just that, and I only got 3 things left to do in that game. I just got to get the golden equipment. So I got 7,000 points. I got just a little over 7,000 coins, and I got to get the one for using the gyro controls by going against people on the street pass.
Yeah, I got all the golden card pieces, and honestly, they don't really do that much in the game. I kind of feel cheated getting them, but they're nice to look at, though.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing, you know, basically, you know, when you log that many hours into the game, you know, technically, like, you're not really getting the best equipment, but for me, I'm just a glutton for punishment. I just need to have everything. And it's just eventually when once I get everything, you know, Mario Kart 7 goes back on the shelf, and I did everything in that game. I just recently, about a couple of months ago, I did Star Fox 64 3D. I logged about 75 hours into that one. I think the biggest time sucker out of that was doing the medals, not the medals in the actual game itself, but basically the challenge mode, where you had to defeat a crazy amount of enemies.
Yeah, that's insane. I can't imagine anyone doing that. That's insane.
Yeah, RPGs and all that, having to collect all the equipment, items. I can't imagine doing that.
Like, what would be the hardest game that you've completed that you can think of?
Hardest with regards to getting everything, or hardest with regards to the boss fights or anything like that?
I guess getting everything?
Just gotta think.
Yeah, I know I'm putting you on the spot and we're asking you a lot of questions, but this is interesting.
Don't worry about it. You know, I got no problems answering the questions. I guess with regards to getting everything, it's a game I haven't completed yet, but I will, and it's obviously the Rogue Galaxy.
Yeah.
The Rogue Galaxy, it's not a hard game. It really isn't. But it's just to actually finish the Frog Log is such a tedious process because you're traveling from planet to planet and you're fighting battles to level up your weapons, and then you got to combine your weapons into a new weapon, and then you got to fight battle after battle after battle after battle. I have about, like, I think I got about 260 hours logged into the game so far, And I think about 80 of those hours have just been just randomly walking back and forth, just fighting enemies and just leveling up weapons and combining them. For 80 hours. You know, you could take 2 generic RPGs and finish them in that amount of time. Or maybe even three of them if you're really good at them. But basically, there are like one game series I'm not looking forward to completing just because there's just so much to do in it is the Star Ocean series.
Oh my god, I was about to ask you that too. I was literally about to ask you that because I remember on the PS2 Star Ocean Till the End of Time, I sunk like 120 hours into that, and that was because I was trying to clear like the bonus dungeons which are in there. Oh my god, those are insane.
Oh, so you got raped by the Valkyrie profile characters, didn't you?
Yeah, it's insane. Those like bonus bosses are so, like triple stronger than like the actual final boss of the game. It's insane.
Like for example, Star Ocean 2 for the PSP and the PS1 has 80 endings.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Now that doesn't necessarily mean I have to play the game 80 times.
Yeah.
Technically, you just need to play the game 4 times. And you just need to save at specific spots. And basically, you just need to change your intimacy rate or your relationship rate with different characters. And you can get items to do that. And if you do that before you actually face the final boss, you'll get a slightly alternative ending.
No, I did that in, what's that one for the Xbox? The Silent Hill Homecoming, I think it was? Where, that's what I did, like, I saved it right before the important choices, and then beat it, reloaded that save, chose, like, another option. But I did it for achievements, though, so, like, you're doing it because you want to.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, it's just that, you know, I guess the biggest reason why I do it is that, I don't know, it's not something that, you know, I can brag about or say that that I can do. It's just that, like, I kind of feel this obligation, you know, to the game developer. Just that, you know, they put this stuff in the game for a reason, so that somebody can, like, play it and enjoy it. And, you know, I always get this guilty feeling that if I play a game, I should really do everything and try to find all the Easter eggs and just find all the little in-jokes that you know, the game developers put in.
Oh, I see. Okay, you do it because... Okay, I see why you do it now. All right. That's cool.
It's actually really interesting. I never, like, that's actually a really good point, too.
Yeah, because, yeah, I don't know, if you think about it, like, if I made a game and I put something really cool in there and no one found
sees
it,
yeah.
that would kind of piss me off a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, no one
because let's look at my last How to Complete video, which was Mega Man X. How do you think the developers at Capcom would have felt if nobody ever found the Hadoken?
That's true.
That is such a cool move, too, yeah. Yeah, how do you get that one? You gotta go through Drill Armadillo stage, like, what, 10 times without getting hit?
No, basically, what you need to do is that once you beat all 8 robot masters, you need to get all the body parts.
Yeah.
You need to get all the hard tanks and all the sub-tanks.
Okay.
Go back to the Armored Armadillo stage, go to the last minecart area, and just basically, and it doesn't really matter if you get hit or not. That's an argument that a lot of gamers are having, how to get that Hadoken. You just ride that minecart to the end, jump to the top, grab the power-up, and then jump off the cliff and kill yourself. And just do that 4 more times, and then you find the capsule and you get the Hadoken. And they did the same, you know, in Mega Man X2, in which you could get the Shuriken, the Dragon Punch. So.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. And now I just want to play Mega Man.
It's like, now I gotta do that.
No. I remember getting the Hadouken, but I never got the Shuriken.
But I have been guilty of playing games and getting about 10 to 20 hours into it and then realizing I missed something and I couldn't go back to it. So I erased the game file and started again.
Really? Wow.
Nobody in their right mind would do that, but I've done it at least on 3 to 4 separate occasions.
Well, yeah, I would not go back, dude.
I'll be like, oh, too late.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, my most infamous story regarding that, and it was something that I lost 45 hours on because of something so stupid. Basically, I was playing Lunar, the Silver Star story for the PS1 complete. At the very beginning of the game, you get Rufus and you get Luna in your party. And as you're going around the town, basically getting items and like getting your weapons and stuff like that, you walk into a house, and one of the villagers, sorry, I said Rufus, it's actually Ramses. One of the villagers confronts Ramses because he sold him a fake golden egg, and he wanted his money back. So so you had to pay him his money back. I didn't. I decided, I'm going to save the money so I can get a few more herbs or something like that. And I thought nothing of it. I really thought nothing of it. I just thought it was just a stupid little in-joke or just something, a part of the story. And I was wrong. I basically went through the entire game thinking that I completed everything, that I got everything and stuff like that. And then during the epilogue of the game, if you go into Ramses' shop, he sells you bromides, and he also gives one to you. So I knew this because, I read the guide. And then when I went to him, and he only had 2 out of the 3 bromides, the pictures of the Lunar female characters. I said, that's strange. So, basically I tried to think of, like, did I do something wrong? Did I talk to everybody? Basically, like, it's the epilogue. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. And no matter what I tried, I couldn't get the last bromide. And then I decided to search on GameFAQs and just look it up. And I found out that I was supposed to have that confrontation. Because basically the money that Ramses borrows from me to pay off the angry villager, he repays the favor by actually giving you the last bromide, and I did not know that. So I invested 45 hours into the game, and I had it about 99% completed. And then when I realized that, let's just say I invented a couple of new curse words, and I basically took the game out and went to the PS1 disc and delete, and I started over.
God.
Wow.
But now, thankfully, Lunar Silver Star story complete for the PS1 is fully completed. I did do everything, get everything, and the game is now retired. It'll never be played again, so I'll never have to make that stupid mistake ever again.
And you get great satisfaction from that. That's amazing. Good job. I could never do that.
Me neither.
It's just that, it's like, for me, I'm not really a competitive gamer. I'm not really much of an online gamer. I don't game to prove a point because in the end, we all have our different reasons for why we play video games. But like for me, it's always been about fun. It's just always been between me and the television screen, and that's it. And it's just that I think we're coming to a day. I think we're coming into a time in which people are just taking games way too seriously. It's just like I'm not the biggest fan of first-person shooters. A lot of people know that. I stick to the anime-style games only. However, like, I remember back in the N64 days, and, I was actually 17, 18 years old at the time when GoldenEye came out. And, I remember, just basically going to a friend's house on a Saturday night, buying a half case of beer or just something like that, and like 8 or 9 guys, we were playing GoldenEye all night. And basically, we were having fun with it, and nobody was taking so seriously. And basically, we all did the same thing. If one player had to go to the washroom and put the game on pause, we would deliberately take the game off pause and surround his character with proximity mines, so that when he came back and unpaused the game, somebody would set off the proximity mines, killing him. And we all laughed and we all had a great time with that. But I just think it's just, people are just taking it way too competitive, and we're losing the fun aspect about it. it's just, I could brag about completing games, but, it's not my style. I just do it for my own personal enjoyment.
No, that's a good way to look at it too. It's like why do we all play games? Because we have fun. Like Dan, why do you play video games?
It's a form of entertainment. I want to be entertained.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Techno, why do you play video games?
Got nothing else better to do.
That's true too.
All right. So you just do it to cure your boredom, I see. No, but like, what's the have you guys ever completed like a game 100%, like Dan, Techno? Because personally, I never have. I've always gotten like maybe 98, 99%.
Jack and Daxter on PS2.
Really?
And yeah, here's the story though. Okay, see, my dad and mother is divorced. I think I've said that before, but I went to my dad's on the weekends, and one weekend I went there, and I came back on that Sunday, and I come to my PS2, turn it on, play some Jack and Daxter, finish it up, and I was like at the very last. I was like at the last dungeon top thing, and I see it at 0%. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And my mom said one of her friend's kids played the PS2. I was like, oh my god.
Urge to Kill Rising.
Yeah, yeah. But then I just played it through and beat it, and I'm done.
The thing is that, like I had talked about this in one of my videos, like just basically where the idea for completing games came from. It just simply came from the fact that, back in the 80s and 90s, video games were expensive. Nobody can really deny that. And basically back then, a lot of people did not make a lot of money. So for the most part, video games were a luxury purchase. And even though I had both my parents were working. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was a production manager at a fish plant, and they made pretty good money. But I had like 3 other siblings, so like I was in a family of 6. So basically when NES and SNES games were anywhere from $70 to like over $100, the only times I could ever own a video game was during my birthday or Christmas. So basically, whatever video game I got, I had to milk it out, because it's not as if, like I could get a game at any time. And basically, all the games, like I had heavily overplayed, and it's just because I had nothing else to play. And basically, we used to rent games during the weekend, but a lot of the games, if you rent a game over a weekend for 2 days, that's not really enough time to complete it. It really isn't. And it's just, I think, and I think it leads back into why I collect video games, because my main prerogative of why I actually collect video games, it's not to have the biggest collection. It's nothing along those lines. It's just to simply have the childhood that I've always wanted, but I couldn't afford. Because I used to go through Nintendo Power. I was subscribed to Nintendo Power at the time, and I seen so many games that like I've always wanted to play. And I used to look at like Game Fan and Electric Gaming Monthly at the drugstore, and I seen all these great games that I knew my parents would never afford, would never buy. And basically, I missed out on a lot of great games. Like, to be honest, you'd be quite surprised. Some of the obviously classics from the PS1 and SNES and N64 games that I actually have never played yet. Like I'll give you a perfect example. I still have never had a chance to play Earthbound yet.
Me too.
I haven't played Earthbound yet.
I've never played it.
I've never ever had a chance to play Majora's Mask. Just recently I finally got my first chance to play Ocarina of Time for the 3DS, and that was my first time ever playing that game.
Wow.
It's just that, basically, I never started collecting video games until 2004. And basically, I did not. I went through pretty much my late high school years to my years in college without ever owning a video game system because I could never afford it. So unfortunately, I missed out on a lot of great games, and that's why I am a big video game collector. My main prerogative is that I do want to own all the anime-style games that were released in North America only. And I set very strict rules to myself when it comes to collecting because I don't collect figures, I don't collect a lot of gaming memorabilia, and I don't even buy a lot of games from this generation. And that's how I manage my funds. Instead of spending money on the popular games that are getting released right now, like Mass Effect 3 and Twisted Metal and stuff like that, I reserve that money to actually get the games that I've always wanted.
Well, what anime video games do you go after? Like anything specific, like Dragon Ball or like Naruto or something?
Anything.
Anything.
If it's an anime style game, regardless if it's a first person shooter, fighter, platformer, RPG, I'm going to collect it.
Wow.
It's just kind of unfortunate that the anime style games tend to be the rarest.
Yeah.
But there's really nothing I can do about it. I don't live in a great area. I can't find a lot of flea market deals like a lot of the other gaming YouTubers do. So I occasionally have to pay because I do have a full-time job. And technically, when you think about it, collecting video games is not really that bad of a hobby with regards to expenses. There could be worse things you could get into that would be a hell of a lot more expensive, especially 80s toys.
Right.
Like, if you started collecting Transformers or G.I. Joes, they would cost a mint. Things like that, I could be into automobiles or baseball cards and stuff like that. And those kind of things literally are so large-scale compared to video games. So technically, when you think about it, video games can be a cheap hobby, especially compared to the other things you can be into.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you look at some of like the rare games, say you want Earthbound, it sounds like a lot, maybe you pay like $100, but say you want like a really rare baseball card, some of those go for thousands,
Yeah, exactly.
So it really is kind of like a more affordable hobby. As for games for me that I completed, it depends. Like, I don't know how I classify completion, but usually if games feature like a lot of characters, unlockable characters, I usually do go after unlocking every single one. So if it's like a fighting game or, like a Super Smash Bros., obviously I want all the characters. Just recently one that I could think of that I got like all the achievements for and basically 100%, it was Pac-Man Championship Edition on Xbox Live Arcade, because I just basically completed that just because I love the game so much, and it kind of just happened by itself. Like, I was just playing it nonstop, and I got a bunch of achievements, and I unlocked everything.
Did you ever play the Pac-Man Battle Royale game at the arcade?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's a Pac-Man arcade game in which it's 4 players and you play against each other.
Sounds pretty cool.
I actually had a chance to play it when I was out to Vancouver.
You would think they would do that for Xbox Live, online multiplayer, 4 or 3 other people. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, what about you, Clive?
I would want to complete a game. It would have to kind of depend on the subject matter or what type of game it is. Like, for fighters, I want all the characters, even if I don't use them. Like, a good example is the Street Fighter Cross Tekken. They're coming out with 12 new characters, but I only want one. I only want Elena. So I'm gonna end up paying the extra money to get all 12 characters, but I want just the one character. And I said this before, I have the 360 version right now, but I kind of want to buy the PlayStation 3 version just so I could have the 5 exclusive characters that were released on that system. For other games that are not really fighters, a good example for me is Batman Arkham City. I love Batman. He's one of my favorite superheroes. So the fact that he is one of my favorite superheroes, I wanted to complete everything in that game. There's like 440 Riddler puzzles in that game. I got them all. I got them all. You know, but like if it's a game like Barney's Magical Adventure, no, I'm gonna complete the main story and then put it down. You know, so I guess for me it depends on if the subject matter or if it's like, you know, a fighter, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But I don't go out 100 to complete everything unless I'm truly into the series. So, what about you, Techno?
Well, it's pretty much same as you if I'm into it, because, you know, I was into Jack and Daxter. And so, yeah, if I'm into the game that much, then yeah, I'm going to 100 it.
And it's funny too, because like if you do like a game, you obviously want to do everything. So a good example for me is with Tales of Vesperia on the 360. I actually missed like a critical point in the game where you need something in order to unlock like the extra dungeon. There's an EX dungeon in the game where with a bonus fight with a really strong boss, and I got to the end of the game and I heard people talking about this dungeon. I'm like, oh, I want to do that dungeon because I love the game. And I'm like, oh wait, I'm missing the item for it. I can't do it. So eventually when I go through it on the second playthrough, I'm going to make sure I get that item that we can take on the extra dungeon. Same with Star Ocean. Like I love Star Ocean, so I went into like the Trials of Tribulations, the Maze of Tribulations, and I wanted to complete that, but that dungeon's so masochistic. Like those bosses are insanely overpowered.
I know. Star Ocean is infamous for having some of the hardest RPG boss battles of all time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I was like, I level grinded to like past level 100, and I was still having like trouble with these bosses.
Yeah, all the Star Ocean games you can max level to 225.
Yeah, and that caught me off guard too. I got to like level 100, I'm like, and then I got to level 101. I'm like, oh, I guess it doesn't stop at 100.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing. You know, you kind of had to have it handed to Enix back in the day. They loved to do strange things with their RPGs before they joined Square. They had some of the most interesting RPGs, especially back in the PS1 days. You know, they had the Valkyrie Profile series, they had the Star Ocean series, they initially had the Dragon Quest series. So
Now I got a question. For like games that go like over 100%, like I know you say you try to go after everything 100% complete, but what about the games that like have that extra percent? Like I think Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo, you could go like 101%.
yeah, there's 101% in Donkey Kong 1, there's 102% in Donkey Kong 2, and there's 103% in Donkey Kong 3. The thing is that this is one of the things you have to be careful of, and that you have to do your research, because you know eventually one of the videos I'm going to make is like how to be a completionist, and basically I think the first fundamental rule is that you have to do your research. You just can't assume that when you reach 100% that's it, because there could always be that one or two little trinkets that you may not know about. It's like basically just before I moved here, you know, I just recently completed Donkey Kong Country 2, and for the most part, you know, that game is fairly easy to complete, except for just one level that really sent me to hell and back, and it's a level called Animal Antics, and it's in the lost area, which is the really difficult levels in the game, and Animal Antics was a level in which you acted as all the animal characters. You didn't act as Diddy or Dixie Kong. And there was one section of that level in which you were the parrot, and you were in this kind of vine-type level with the wind pushing you back and forth, and it was so hard to control the parrot, especially because if you were going against the wind, you were going too slow, and if the wind was pushing you, you were just going way too fast, and they had like bumblebees or zingers, as they were called in the game, just all over the place. And I just died just way too many times to the point that I got frustrated. But That's one of the best things I like, because sometimes if a game gets too difficult, people will just put it down and say, I'm never touching this again. The way I see it is, yes, doing difficult things frustrate me, of course. I'm only human. But what I simply do is, I just put the controller down and I just walk away for a couple of hours.
And then you come back and you do it no problem.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a perfect example. When I completed Final Fantasy X, obviously, if somebody wants to complete that game, the one thing that they don't look forward to doing is the dodging the 200 lightning bolts to get Lulu's best weapon. Nobody looks forward to doing that because basically you got to have a sharp eye. The most common problem that people used to do when trying to do that is that they tried to do it all at once. And basically, when you have your eyes fixated on the screen, trying to dodge 200 lightning bolts, your eyes are going to strain and you're just going to get way too tense. And then when you start getting past 100 and 120, you're just going to fuck up and then you're going to have to start back over again. Basically, what I found out, one of the things that I could do and how I managed to do that quest of dodging the 200 lightning bolts is that you could put the game on pause. So what I used to do is I used to dodge 20 lightning bolts at a time, put the game on pause, walk to the fridge, get something to drink, or just basically give some time, for my hand to rest or for my eyes to focus and that kind of thing, and then do it for another 20 times, and then put the game on pause again and do it for another 20 times, and you do that like 10 times, and there's your 200 lightning bolts, dodging the lightning bolts easy.
Nice, man. That's actually really smart to do.
Yeah, so I guess we want to jump into some news.
And this is about Dead or Alive 5 roster. NeoGAF forum member Sectus supposedly discovered what would be the full roster in Dead or Alive 5 demo that is included in Ninja Gaiden 3, and I didn't know that Ninja Gaiden 3 came with a demo of Virtua Fighter 5, or I would have already had it. And yeah, so here is the list. Pi, I think that's how you pronounce her name, from Virtua Fighter. Sarah, from Virtua Fighter, unless there's a new character from Dead or Alive that's named Sarah. Kira from Virtua Fighter. Mila, I don't know if I haven't played any of the I haven't played the 3DS Dimensions, Dead or Alive Dimensions. Rig, Bayman, Hitomi, Christy, Brad, Lisa, Elliot, I totally forgot how you pronounce that. The purple hair ninja.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name though.
I don't know. Ayane. Ugh.
Yang? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Li Fang, 5D, Kokoro. I don't know that character, I don't think. Bass, Leon. No, not Bass from Mega Man. Helena, Yinfu, Kasumi. Oh yeah, Kasumi's my bitch. Hayabusa, Chan Lee, Tina, Zach, and Alpha 152. So, hopefully...
See, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I can't wait for this.
Are people getting upset about this? Because in all honesty, it's hard to keep anything a secret, gaming related, anymore.
Yeah, no one's getting upset. Like, they have 3 pictures of Hitomi, Kasumi, and that purple-haired ninja chick, Aine, or whatever her name is. And they thought, people thought that's all that was going to be in Dead or Alive 5, because the title of it is the full Dead or Alive roster, and it's kind of weird to have just 3 pictures up there. So that's the only reason they're like, oh, I thought the 3 women were just going to be in there, but then there's this list. So I'm glad that Akira is not going to be the only Virtual Fighter character in it. It's more of a crossover, having more characters, 3 more, I think, having 3 characters in it. So yeah.
What is Dead or Alive for? It's for like the Xbox and stuff, PlayStation 3.
Yeah. They haven't said, but it's gonna be, for, if it's not gonna be on PS3, it'll be an Xbox 360 exclusive, like 4 was.
Yeah, exactly. And I guarantee you, after that game gets out, we'll have another Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. You know that's coming.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I'll buy it.
In HD. Need it.
HD, dude. I still haven't.
I'll 100% complete that.
I still haven't gotten the second one that's on 360.
You would only complete that if the chicks were gonna end up being naked afterwards.
Yep.
And they would never do it.
And they would never.
Because they got some guy got taken to court because he made that hack for the first one.
That's funny.
And yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. But they do the girls look fucking amazing in these pictures. I'm just gonna say, it looks really good.
Yeah, it's in HD.
4 was in HD.
Yeah, it's on 360.
Who wants to put money on that they're going to have an option to increase the jiggle factor again?
DLC. Increase jiggle factor.
No, they always had that.
But you can
Even
increase
the first one.
Isn't there an option to actually turn it down or something, or change it?
Yeah,
there is.
if you it's like an age thing, and if you go up all the way to 99 to put your age, it's like the most jiggle ever.
It's funny. Just put it on max. It's like Mortal Kombat or something, when they have the gore filter. It's like, do I want the gore on or off?
Yeah, but in all honesty, who plays Mortal Kombat with the gore off?
I know,
Nobody.
defeats the purpose. It's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, guys, I just read a news story. It looks like BioWare is caving in and giving the fans the ending.
Oh my god.
For Mass Effect 3?
Yep.
I heard this, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know. I could go into a big long rant about it, but I'm not. I'm not filling your podcast full of that. It's like, I'm just simply going to state the fact that, look, we have all watched TV series, movies, anime, cartoons, and maybe it didn't end the way we wanted it to end.
Yeah.
But, but we're not crying bloody murder because we're not that selfish. When have gamers came across the fact that they feel like that they're the most entitled human beings on the face of the planet?
Yeah.
And that just really bugs me, because basically now that BioWare is caving under the pressure to change the ending, then what the fans know is that anytime BioWare makes a game and it doesn't turn out the way they want to, then the fans are going to complain, knowing full well BioWare is going to cater to their demands.
Exactly.
I actually love the ending to Mass Effect 3. Like, I'm not gonna download the new ending that they're making because I was totally satisfied with the ending of Mass Effect 3. I don't know why these people are complaining about it, but
Yeah, I mean,
It's just, I don't know. Maybe they expect to be spoon-fed. Now, look, I've never played a Mass Effect 3 game. A Mass Effect game, but it's just that you just can't be selfish. We have seen and played many things that didn't turn out the way we wanted them to. We have seen characters die. We have seen storylines change that we didn't think that it should change like that. But we dealt with it. I just don't understand what it is about Mass Effect that people just feel this huge sense of entitlement.
I don't know. I can kind of see their way a little bit. Like Mass Effect 3, the whole Mass Effect franchise. It's one of those games that's like it gets the player involved. There's a huge lore of Mass Effect. It's like I said this before. This is just like Star Trek. There's a huge fan base for Star Trek. There's a huge fan base for Mass Effect 3. So like I can kind of understand where like, oh, like okay, like Captain Kirk slept with a blue chick instead of a green chick. Like people get pissed off of that about Star Trek. People will get the same way with Mass Effect universe. I can understand why people get like that because there's a huge lore behind it. But honestly, guys, this is the way I feel about the whole situation. Video games now, they're an art form. Like, do you guys disagree or agree with that?
No,
I
obviously,
agree.
obviously they are, and they've been an art form since day one. So
Right, so there you go. Like, so video games, they're a form of art, okay? This is the artist's work. This is their work, right? You wouldn't go to, like, Leonardo da Vinci and be like, oh, I don't like how the Mona Lisa looked, change her.
yeah.
You won't do that. You can't do that. You don't go to Michelangelo and say, oh, change David so he looks like this. You don't do that because it's an art form. You don't change art. And people, like, video games are art. This is the artist's interpretation on how they think these characters should be, where they should be, how they should do these things. You get what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Yeah, so, like, that's the way I see it. Like I said 10 minutes ago, I love the ending. I wouldn't change it for the world. Totally satisfied.
Yeah, and the thing is that what it comes down to is that there is a specific reason why a lot of creators of geek culture don't listen to their fans. Because every fan thinks that they know what's best for the thing that they're a fan of. But the biggest hypocritical statement I hate is that, guys, if you love something enough, how come you're not applying for the company? How come you're not working really hard, to be a part of it? It's easy to criticize something when you're not a part of the team, when you're not a part of the actual thought process. It's just that, the guys who do these games, they are professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. When you question their ability to do something right, then basically you're insulting them and you're insulting their work in the process.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see, like, some of these people complaining, it's like, well, how would you end it then, since you apparently know how to end it better than how they did it, so it's like...
Wait, it's going to get to the point where, like, whoever is making these games, they're going to second guess themselves.
And they shouldn't.
Yeah, they really shouldn't. Like, if someone is making the final level of a video game or even designing a character, say, like, oh, I want this character to be blonde because I know he's going to be blonde. But, like, hell, maybe, like, Techno or myself or Dan's like, no, he should be a redhead. No, like, no. I wouldn't, that doesn't make any sense. This is the artist's work. Let them design the game, and enough said. I don't understand this, but...
It's just, look, the perfect example is, let's just look at a very important aspect of gaming history. Let's look at Aerith's death from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
nobody...
Spoiler.
It's a little old for that.
A little
Too
old
late.
there.
Yeah. The thing is that, everybody liked the character, in Disc 1. She was completely overpowered, and everybody liked her. And obviously when she died and nobody seen it coming, yes, people were sad, people were angry, but and they wish she could have lived, and people really hoped as that they were playing through the game if there was a way to revive her. But in all honesty, would the game still have the incredible status it has now if it didn't have that?
Right, yeah, if they put her back in, it'll be a totally different game.
Yeah.
Like, another good example is, the end of Metroid, when she takes off her helmet and everyone found out she was a girl. What if people got so pissed off and they wanted Metroid to be not Metroid, Samus to be a guy? That would actually change that character dramatically.
I wouldn't be able to look up pictures.
That's dirty. Don't think of that.
The thing is that, I really distance myself away from the fanboys because they just take it way too far. It's just that, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of something.
No.
And basically, one thing I would love to see done right now is that, obviously, a lot of people's favorite television show right now is The Walking Dead. Everybody loves it, thinks, but in all honesty, let's just say a couple of seasons from now they decide to end it. And let's just say if it went the way of The Sopranos or Lost, and they made like a really, really, really stupid ending, are you going to totally dismiss the series and how great it was all the way through just because it had a bad ending? I wouldn't.
You know what? Now that you bring up movies and stuff, have you guys heard about this? That Michael Bay is redoing the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
This is a perfect example because you just brought up TV shows. I grew up on the Ninja Turtles cartoon. I loved the first movie. I loved the second movie. The third movie, not so much. But but if you guys heard already, Michael Bay is redoing the Ninja Turtles where supposed aliens and hated it because they were aliens. Does that mean I hate the entire Ninja Turtles franchise? No.
Absolutely not.
No, I would just hate the latest movie.
The thing is that people are already hating on it without basically giving it a chance. And one of my friends had a very important saying, and she said that you can't make an accurate judgment upon something unless you give it a try.
It's really true.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, look, like the way I see it, yes, we are living in an age right now in which we're seeing a lot of things revived from our childhood, whether it's in a new cartoon form or, if it's being turned into a movie, and everybody is getting upset because they're too busy comparing the new to the old. They grew up with the old, they love the old, and they don't want to accept anything new. I look at it in a different way, and the best example I can use is basically, despite being a completionist, I'm a big horror movie fan as well when it comes to slashers and stuff like that.
Oh, me too, man.
And, basically, we have seen a lot of revivals and remakes of a lot of classic horror series. And, for the most part, I've actually enjoyed the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th, and Halloween, and The Hills Have Eyes, and Last House on the Left, and My Bloody Valentine. The reason why I'm enjoying these movies is that I am not comparing them to the original. I am taking them as their own separate film. It's just that I pay homage to the old originals, but basically a lot of people hated the remake on Nightmare on Elm Street because basically everybody made the same complaint. Nobody can play Freddy but Robert Englund. Yes, we all know that. He sold the role, he made the role, but actors age and they can't do it anymore. Stop comparing the new film to the old film and just accept it as something completely new. And that's all you got to do. And basically, and this is why a lot of the remakes don't get a lot of love. It's because people are too busy comparing them to the original because they want them to be the original. But it's not going to be like that. It never is.
I did like the remake of Friday the 13th. I guess because, well, I never really watched the first one. and, was a little kid and scared and peed my pants.
To be honest, as a slasher film fan, a slasher film just has to have three major requirements for me to enjoy it. You have to root for the bad guy, the kills have to be pretty good, and one way or another, you have to see some boobs. So as long as they fill in those three major requirements, I'm happy.
Did you see the X-Men First Class?
Yes, I did.
What do you consider that as? A remake or a prequel to the X-Men trilogy?
I consider that a separate film in its own right. I don't think it has anything to do with the first three X-Men films.
Okay, dude, that's... See, I'm bringing this up because I considered it a prequel to the trilogy, and I absolutely hated X-Men First Class because there was so many contradictions between that movie and the trilogy that I absolutely hated it.
Well, let me pose this question to you. If you accepted the film as a separate entity, and
I would have loved
it.
it. I'm telling you, I would have loved it. Like I said this so many times. If I totally threw away the trilogy, yes, I would have freaking loved X-Men First Class. But when I was watching that movie in the theaters, I couldn't help it. I had to put it in the same category as the other X-Men movies, including Wolverine Origins, because I considered it a prequel, and I literally left the theater, and in the parking lot, I gave a very rough review of the entire movie, and I bashed it, because I couldn't handle it. Like, I considered it a prequel, but I totally agree with you, where if I accept it as just its own movie, I would have fucking loved it. But I really can't do that, though.
Yeah.
I know
like,
it's
yeah, I can understand, it's hard for fans, to kind of break that mold. But basically, they should have understood, throughout all the contradictions, that, this movie isn't trying to be a prequel to the other three X-Men films, because there were a lot, as you said before, there were a lot of contradictions. But basically, if you knew that this was the start of a new X-Men story, a lot of people would have came out of it a lot more satisfied.
Well, I think the majority of the people loved X-Men First Class, which is great, like, if you love that movie, awesome, go for it, but, like, for me, I just couldn't. I actually have the movie on Blu-ray, and I only bought it because I'm a huge superhero fan, and I gotta have every superhero movie, but honestly, it's still in the wrapping. I refuse to open that movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, the thing is, look, I'll be completely honest, there are some superhero movies. Oh, hang on. Like, a perfect example of a superhero movie that I'm a big fan of that a lot of people hate is, I like the Daredevil movie. I really do.
I love that movie. I really did.
Because I know a lot of people were going on saying, well, Kingpin isn't black. Well, I don't care. Like, Michael Clark Duncan did a good Kingpin.
Well, the thing with that is you're not comparing it with anything, except for the comics. Like, honestly. But if you took that as its own movie, you loved it. You just said you loved it. I loved it. But if you compare it to the comics, yes, people are gonna hate it. And you gotta understand, the artist of the comic and the director of the movie, they're totally different people. They're not gonna be based on the comics. Well, they are, but they aren't exactly gonna be based on the comics. Like, if I compared X-Men First Class to the actual comics, I would have hated it even more. But I didn't compare it to comics. I compared it with the other movies that were already released. We've gotten way off topic, though.
No, that's all right.
No, it's good, but Dan and Techno are quiet.
Yeah, like, we totally went off, like, we went from my news story to Derek's news story about Mass Effect, and then anime, and then superhero.
Yeah.
Good changes.
No, but it's just it's basically this is what we're talking about. Like it's whoever makes the game, whoever makes the movie, whoever makes the comic book, it's their project. Let them have their project. That's
The thing
basically
is-
the gist of it.
The best thing we can do is just simply enjoy it. Basically, we don't have the authority to tell anybody how to do their job. They're obviously in the gaming industry. They make their game because they're good at it. It's their skill. And it's easy to criticize something, when we're not the ones that are doing it. All we need to do is just simply accept what they're doing. And, they are professionals.
All right, let's move on to another story. I got a news story that I've been waiting quite a bit on. Capcom has announced what DLC will be free and what DLC we're actually going to pay for. Now, I've talked about this game so much, my love, my hate, but I've been waiting for this a long time. And on April 3rd, we are going to get the first, group bundle collection of DLC. And that's going to be the swap costumes. Instead of offering basic alternate costumes, the outfits are going to be cross-fashioned, where like the Street Fighter characters are going to dress like the Tekken characters and vice versa. And that's on April 3rd. And also on April 3rd, we're going to get a color pack that contains 4 new additional color palettes that would add to the customization options and 3 new quick combos, making the total of 5 pre-programmed attack patterns. And a few weeks after that, I don't know the exact date of this second DLC bundle thing, but we're actually going to get 3 new assist gems and 6 new boost gem packs, making it over 60 gems in the total selection pool. But the biggest, the most greatest DLC that I've already talked about before is the 12 exclusive characters that will be released later in the year when the PlayStation Vita version of the game is released. And I've already told you what characters are going to be within the 12, but if you guys have forgotten, they're going to be Blanca, Guy, Cody, Elena, Dan, Sakura, Alyssa, Brian, Christy, Jack, Lars, and Lee. Now, besides the DLC, the dev team is also working to fix the solution of the alternate, the infinity combos. These are like the combos where you can like juggle somebody, and your opponent basically can do nothing because you just constantly keep knocking him in the air. The dev team is actually working to patch that sometime in the future, hopefully like in the next couple months, I don't know. But getting back to the DLC, the free DLC is going to be the 9 gem packs that I just mentioned before, something called the Replay Analyzer, the tournament support of gem selections, the 3 new quick combo presets, the 3 additional gem layouts, and the 3 color packs with the 4 colors each. Now, the only DLC that you actually got to pay for are going to be the swap costumes. They're going to be about 80 Microsoft points, which is roughly about like $1 each. Or you could buy the entire costume pack for 1,400 Microsoft points, which is roughly about $12 or $13. And the 12 exclusive characters, they're actually going to be bundled together. You can't buy them separately, whereas you can do with the costumes. But together, they're going to be about $20, which is about 1,600 Microsoft points. And I've said this in past episodes. This is exactly what I wanted, because in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, those 2 characters were like about $5 each, and that was 1 character. I did the math on this. $20 divided by 12 characters is about $1.60 per character. To me, that's freaking awesome. Because, like, you're going to get a huge deal out of that.
I know that's how companies, obviously, they need to survive, because obviously, it's all about making money. It's just that, unfortunately, I'm just one of those gamers that's just stuck in the old days. It's, there came a time in which you actually unlock stuff on the game without actually having to pay for anything. It's just, like, I often ask myself, is like, do the companies really need the money? Is just, like, isn't $60 or $65 enough? If they already had plans of putting all this stuff in there, even if they set the price at 80 to 85, I'm sure people would have still bought it.
Oh no, man, I totally agree. We talked about this on a past episode. I really wanted these characters to be free, but, as I already mentioned earlier on this podcast, I would buy every single DLC character because I want them all. And I would buy this $20 for the 12 characters, but I still would really like them to be free.
Okay, a little off topic, but is Cole in the PS3 version or just the Vita version?
He's in the PS3 version.
And he'll be in both versions as well.
Okay. All right.
So, but yeah, that's the DLC that's going to be released. Actually, all the DLC for Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Most of it is free, and only the costumes and the DLC characters you're actually going to pay for.
I'm still waiting for Karen to make her come back, but
Yep.
Alright, but that's it. That's my news story.
I saw this news story and it made me really happy, but the title of the article comes from Silicon Era, one of my favorite websites, but it says, "Shh, don't tell anyone, but we found the Tales of Ilya trademark. Tales of Grace's F has been out in North America for about a week, and it appears Namco Bandai already has plans to localize the next game in the series. Silicon Era found the trademark of Tales of Ilya in Europe's trademark database. Yes, we realize Grace's F isn't available in PAL territories. Tales of Ilya came out on the PlayStation 3 last year in Japan. The game follows two lead characters, Doctor in Training Jude Mathis and Spirit user Mila Maxwell. Created by Tales artists Kusuke Fujishima and Mutsumi Inomata, Namco Bandai said they are looking to bring over more Tales titles beyond Grace's F and Abyss, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that this is more than a protective trademark," which is really interesting. I mean, like, this comes right after Grace's F, which Grace's F actually sold really well. Like, pre-orders were like 100,000 plus, and it was great to see so much support for that game because a lot of fans, that was the purpose for some of these fans, is to, really support this game, to show Bandai Namco that they're willing to take a chance on the series and hopefully bring out more. So
yeah, and it's kind of crazy because the Tales games they're not even out. Like, Tales of the Abyss is not even out for 2 months yet for the 3DS, and it's already doubled in price online.
Yeah, and Grace's F was... Yeah.
And Grace's F will be going that way pretty soon.
Yeah, that's what I would say, because they kind of produced that in a low print run quality.
Yeah, but, like, that is one of the best things about the anime-style game genre, is because they do not need to spend any money on advertising. They really don't.
No, the fans know.
The fans know, and they know they don't want... They're not trying to bring new gamers into their genre, because this is the reason why all their games have low print runs, to cut down on costs, and they know that the people who love the genre are going to buy it regardless.
Yeah.
They easily sell their games just through word of mouth, and that's all they need. To be honest, when was the last time you seen a commercial for an anime-style game?
That's a good question. I don't even remember.
I think it would have to be a Dragon Ball Naruto game for me.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Anime style commercial.
When was the last time you seen a commercial on mainstream television for an anime-style game?
That would have to be Dragon Ball Z, the
Yeah,
newest
exactly.
game.
Yeah, but that's one of the best things about Xseed and Axis Games and stuff like that, and NIS America. They don't have to spend money on advertising. They just need to put a little link on their website and then wait for the game companies or the game reviewers site to bite to let us know that it exists, and that's all the information we know. We go to EB Games or GameStop, pre-order it, and then it's said and done.
Yeah. I just found out, like, yesterday, that, Eve, opened
Got ported
Sylvana.
to the Steam.
Yeah.
Big news for
To
Steam fans.
I was like, oh my god, yes!
Yeah. So that's some pretty big news if no one doesn't know. Yeah, Ease Up with Falgana, it's like a direct port of the PSP one on Steam, so you can play it on your PC.
I heard it was the PC
What do you mean?
version.
Oh, no, I doubt it. I've seen screenshots that look identical to the PSP. Because it originally is, it's a remake of a remake. It's a remake and a port of that remake.
Now you're just confusing me.
Well, I have the original Ease Up with Falgana, but I have it on Super Nintendo. It's the Wanderers for Mies. It's originally called Wanderers for Mies 3, but it was on TurboGrafx, and people say an inferior port on Super Nintendo, but it's okay. It does have like a couple like flickering issues and stuttering issues, but it's not unplayable. It's actually pretty good. Yeah. I don't know how much it's going to cost, so did you see anything?
It's $14.99.
It's not bad. It's probably how much you can get it on the PSP.
Well, does everybody have their copy of Xenoblade Chronicles pre-ordered?
Yep. GameStop for the art book. I want that art book.
And I want to see a news story on saying that the sales for that game is gone really well.
Yeah, they haven't really mentioned.
Because if I don't see that kind of article or anything like that, then I'm really going to hate on the people who jumped on top of the Project Rainfall bandwagon.
Yeah.
You guys wanted this to come out. You don't want to go back on your word. Because if Nintendo sees that the sales numbers aren't high despite all this protest to get the game released in North America, you guys just made yourself look like the biggest bunch of hypocrites on the face of the planet.
Oh yeah, I think I said this before. Like, you basically got to answer with your wallets now.
Yeah,
So.
you did. I remember. Okay, Amazon.com.
And look, we got 2 of the 3. We just need to get Pandora's Tower. And this is the reason why I want to see the game sell well, because people have to understand, look, we cried about it, we're getting what we want, but now we have to show them. We have to show Nintendo that we're willing to give them the money. Because basically, if we show them that we're giving them the money to get these games, then they're going to release more games like that.
Hey, on Amazon, it just has Xenoblade and then bracket.
You can only get it from Nintendo or GameStop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nintendo.com.
GameStop has a bonus art book. Nintendo's offering a new like bundle with a Classic Controller Pro, which is just a standard Classic Controller Pro. I was hoping they'd do like the red one from like the UK, but no, it's just a black one. So I'm like, oh, whatever. But yeah, I think that costs like $70.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much my news. I mean, that made me really happy because, I mean, talk about fans, living up with their wallets. That's basically what a lot of these fans with Grace's F did. I mean, they push pre-orders past like 100,000, and that's pretty huge considering like, Vesperia probably hasn't even sold close to 100,000 total. Like, that game was absolutely bombed when it came out, and that's what led to the Namco Bandai questioning the series in America. It's like, well, we brought you one on the 360, you guys didn't buy it, so I guess you guys don't really want this series. And now the fans answered, and it's fantastic to see that.
If they would port, or not port, but give us the PS3 version of Tales of Vesperia, I'd buy it again.
I would.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, you can't even get past the first boss.
No, you're so
Hey,
sorry.
hey. No, none of that shit.
Been trying to beat that boss for like a month now.
No.
What do you mean?
I just
no?
haven't been. Haven't played it.
The podcast, you can't beat the.
Tell me
I
your
just
level
haven't
grade.
played it.
You guys want to get into games we've been playing?
Yeah. Sure.
All right, Techni, you go first, and you can explain to us why you haven't beat that boss yet.
Yeah, I want to know.
Okay, so I've been playing some Tales of Vesperia just today. Okay, I haven't been playing it because I've been playing Sonic 2 and Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. That's it. That's all I've been playing. Oh, and some SSX Tricky on my original Xbox. And some Killer Instinct, the arcade version, on my original Xbox. Yes, it's modded, whatever. So yeah, that's why I haven't played Tales of Vesperia. And hey, it's my first time going through this game. So stop harassing me.
I'm not harassing you. I'm just wondering why you suck at the game.
Because
I just want you to make progress.
Yeah, come on, man.
I'm not good at RPGs.
Okay, you know what? Here, mail me your Xbox.
No!
The game, and I will beat the boss for you, and I will gladly mail you back your system and the game.
It's a good deal.
That is a good deal. Works out for all of us.
It's better than me. I'll beat the game for you. And send it back to you like 100% completed.
I hate you.
I love you.
I'm telling you, just level grind for a little bit more, a couple more levels, you'll have no problem.
Yeah.
Well,
Grind for another 20 levels.
Be overpowered.
ELP.
What about you, the completionist? What have you been playing?
What I'm playing, obviously, I'm still trying to get through Mario Kart 7, but the other games, like I said, I bounce around between playing 2 to 3 games trying to complete them. So the other games I'm playing is Sands of Destruction, which is a Sega RPG for the DS. And I'm also playing another Sega game, playing Aliens Infestation for the DS. And if you do come across that game cheap, I do highly recommend you buy it, because I know most of the Aliens games is like usually first-person shooters, but Aliens Infestation is kind of, if you took the gameplay of Symphony of the Night and 2D Metroid and you put it into the Aliens universe, that's what you would get.
I've heard nothing but good things about that game, so.
And that's it for me.
What about you, Kyle? What you been playing?
Alright, I've been playing quite a few games. Last weekend, I busted out my Atari 2600, and I busted this out because I was trying to try to see if the system worked or not, because I was trying to hook it up to my computer, and I was unsuccessful, to record some video game footage, and I don't have any old TVs except for, one. And I hooked that up, and oh my god, dude, as soon as I hooked this thing up, I was I fell in love. I played all these games. I played Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Frog and Flies, E.T., Indiana Jones, Pac-Man, all these different games for the Atari 2600, and they're so goddamn simple, but they're so much fun. And it was kind of funny. I actually spent maybe 5 minutes before each game because I was holding the controller wrong, and it actually says top on the top of the controller, but I didn't know that, so I was actually holding the joystick the wrong way for half those games. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Atari 2600, and that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't play a lot of really old retro games, and I just absolutely fell in love with them all.
Do you actually have Keystone Capers for your Atari 2600?
I don't have it. I don't have the actual cartridge, but if you guys remember that the Xbox 360 had that that arcade room.
Yep.
They had it in there, and I bought Keystone Capers in there.
That's like my favorite 2600 game.
Yeah, but yeah, I played it in there, and honestly, that was kind of hard, especially with the 360 control. But it is a good game, though. So my favorite 2600 game has to be Pitfall, hands down. Love that game.
Sequest is pretty good too. I love that game because basically, like the danger noise when you were running out of air and you had to go to the surface. I love that game. So
I still want to get my hands on Adventure, mainly because I want to actually find the very first Easter egg in video game history for myself. I've never done that, and I actually want to pick it up. I know you can get it on eBay for like $5 to $10, but other than that, I've been playing a lot of Top Gear 3000. This is a arcade-style racing game set in the future where I actually race on different alien worlds. And I've mentioned this game before when we actually did segments. We don't really do segments anymore, but I actually brought this game up, and I used to play a lot of this game when I was a kid. And this game is pretty much like other games in the Top Gear series, where you actually race, you earn money, you use that money to buy different upgrades for your car, such as engines, armor, boost upgrades, and hands down, it's one of the most fun and addicting games I've ever played when I was a kid, and I just recently bought it on eBay, popped it in. I spent a good, 4 hours playing this game, and I love it. I highly recommend it if you guys are into like retro racing games, especially for like the 16-bit era.
I think the only racing game I think I ever enjoyed was Sega's VR Racing.
I never played that, actually.
It's a lot of fun, especially in the golden age of arcades. It was a ton of fun. No, wait, that's a lie. I just made myself sound like a hypocrite because I play Mario Kart all the time.
Yeah, well, okay, well, you can just classify VR Racing as a good retro racing game, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you won't be a liar or a hypocrite. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Punch-Out! I got this on the 3DS eShop, and I play this a lot on break, while I'm at work eating lunch, and this is the Punch-Out! With Mr. Dream, not Mike Tyson. And, what can I say about Punch-Out!? It's, it's the classic NES video game, but on a handheld. I was doing pretty good until I got to King Hippo, and he just slaughtered me. Like, I have no idea how to beat King Hippo, and I honestly, I can't remember if I ever beat him as a kid. But,
you have to hit him. You have to hit him in the belly button.
I did that, and he blocks me all the time. I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know. I have to like just keep practicing. Maybe watch a YouTube video or something. But I just can't beat him. I know you gotta hit him in the stomach, because that's what you kind of have to do in the. He was in the Super Nintendo version, wasn't he?
No.
No? Was
so.
it somebody like that, though?
Bear Hugger.
Bear Hugger, yeah. He was almost just like him. But, yeah, I know you gotta hit him in the stomach, but he just keeps blocking all my punches for some reason. So.
That's alright. Punch-Out! Is known for, like, having, like, split-second timing anyway.
Oh, yeah, well, I think the first time I fought King Hippo during lunch, he hit me like 2-3 times and I was down. I was like, Jesus. But, I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and, dude, I absolutely love this game. I've mostly been playing online rank matches with my team of Ryu and Julia, and like I said, I absolutely love this game. I have to learn how to fight with Julia a little bit more, and I've actually been forcing myself playing with her by picking her first, because if you pick her first in your team, you start off with her first. So I'm really trying to force myself to use her more. I only really use Ryu when Julia's in trouble and at low health.
Are you getting poked to death by Rolento?
Him, Relento, Hugo.
Yeah, I heard those guys are like really used a lot
They
by
are. They're
everyone.
like Hugo is a fucking tank, dude. He's like you kick him, you punch him, you throw Hadoukens at him, he just stands there and takes it, and he just slaps you with these massive hands. I'm like, God, dude, you're insane.
Yeah. Everybody's whoring out Relento and Rufus just because it's an easy, like, 6 to 8 button, like, team combo.
Oh yeah, they're crazy. I think those are some of the characters that do the infinite combos that Capcom's actually trying to patch up. But yeah, they're insane. It's a good game. I absolutely love it. I kind of wish the game was a little more like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where you have to beat the entire team to win. Because in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, if you just beat one character on a team, then that's it. You won the match.
Isn't that like King of Fighters?
No, King of Fighters, you have to defeat all 3 players on a team.
Yeah, but I thought each round was a different character.
No, you still... Well, yeah, each round is a different character, but you still have to defeat all 3 characters to win the final match. I know in some sort of Tekken game, it's either Tekken 1, or was there a second Tekken Tag Game 2, or something like that?
Tekken Hybrid.
2.
Okay. Because I know one of them, they have like the same system where it's a team of 2, and if you defeat one fighter on that team, then you win the match. So
Yeah,
I know it's like that.
Yeah, Tekken Hybrid is like a demo type thing for Tekken Tag 2 because it hasn't released yet.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of wish it was more like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where you had to defeat all the opponents on that one team to win the final match. But you know, what can you do? I mean, it's still a great game. Like I said before, I actually have the Xbox 360 version, but recently I borrowed the PS3 version from a friend of mine because I really wanted to try Pac-Man, Mega Man, and the other exclusive characters. And my first impression on these characters, Pac-Man, absolutely love him. I think he's one of the best out of the 5 exclusive characters. Mega Man, he's a little bit slow and he doesn't really have very good range. The 2 cat characters, Toru and Karu, absolutely suck. Their range is insanely short and useless to the point where they're just pure laughable. Cole, I heard he actually is one of the worst characters, but I actually found him quite useful. I think he has good range. I think he's somewhat quick, but you know, people think he's really one of the worst characters, and I don't really see that. But I didn't really spend. No, Cole.
Oh.
But I didn't put that much time into Cole that much, so my opinion could change if I actually put some more time into him. So, but yeah, I've been playing a lot of that, and the last and final game I just picked up today was Kid Icarus Uprising. And it's a very good game. I played the first 3 chapters, and so far it's really good. I'm not going to tell anything about the story because I just came out today. I don't want to be a spoilers, but basically the game is set up where like each stage is kind of broken up into like 2 different parts. And the first part, you're in the sky, and it kind of plays a little bit like Panzer Dragon Good Saga. In the second part, you actually get on the ground and you fight other enemies until you actually reach the boss of each stage. I played a little bit online with Holly in a 3-on-3 matchup with 3 other people, and that one's it's really, really fun, but it's really, really chaotic. You know, where you're constantly getting shot at, you're constantly getting knocked around, you're dying, but it's like really, really fun.
Yeah.
It probably has that good frustration.
You know, it does, because I was playing it, and I think I died like maybe 7 times in one match, but I'm like, this is awesome. But yeah, I recommend you guys pick this game up, and I know Dan, you already have, so I don't want to say too much about it, so you could talk about it a little bit about yourself. The only thing I don't like about the game so far, and Dan, we already talked about this before, is the controls in the game. I'm not a fan of controls. After about 15 to 20 minutes, my hand starts cramping up, but this is probably because I'm not using the stand that comes with the game. And you were telling me earlier, Dan, that you were playing it with the stand, and you're not having that issue at all.
No, like I said, I thought the stand was just, to be honest, a useless piece of junk that Nintendo packed in, but I tried it out. And the reason I tried it out is because as soon as they introduce the controls and they say, to aim, you have to use the touchscreen, I'm like, oh, wait, I won't be able to hold the 3DS with both hands because my right hand will be busy using the touchscreen. So I pop it on the stand, and it fits pretty well. I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of a handheld game because you kind of got to prop it up on, like, a desk or something, but it feels comfortable just, like, having your left hand only on, the D-pad and pressing L, and then just your right hand free to just use the touchscreen. It works surprisingly well. I can understand why they packed that in.
Okay, so I definitely got to give the stand a try because, like I said, after about 15 minutes, my hand really starts to cramp up. So I'll definitely have to give that stand a try. But yeah, that's about it. That's the last game I've been playing this week. What about you, Dan?
Alright, so I've actually been playing quite a bit too. I want to start off with the big one that I was really anticipating that I finally got my hands on, and that's Tales of Grace's F for the PlayStation 3. So far I'm about, I want to say maybe 25 plus hours into it. And I'm surprised actually how much I enjoyed it. Like I was a little skeptical about it. It is a port of a Wii game, and I thought it'd be a little bit like extremely lighthearted, and which it kind of is. But I was surprised about some of the more intense themes that it actually has going for it, and surprisingly, I'm actually really really enjoying it. The story's I'm not gonna spoil the story obviously, but the story is actually fairly simple. I mean, it's not gonna get too complicated, and I mentioned this in a. Well, I lost my videos because of a huge computer issue. I lost a lot of my videos, but you won't see it. But I did record a first impressions for it, which will never be seen. But I mentioned this that it is an interesting game, but the story is simple. But I mentioned that like it's not a bad thing because I think that was a fault with Tales of the Abyss is that they tried to get a little too complex with the story, and that I just couldn't follow the story. I'm like, okay, the story's going all over the place, but I think it was a good thing that they kept it a little more straightforward. The battle system, here's where I get really mixed on it. The battle system seems like a huge improvement over like Vesperia. Like I like the combo of like A arts and B arts. Like B arts are simple, like where you just use the directional and press like circle and you do like these strong attacks. But A arts introduce an interesting combo factor to the battle system, which makes it feel really fast-paced. You basically just press the directional buttons with X in certain directions, and you'll pull off certain combos depending which direction you're going. So it feels really good. It works really well. The over-limit system is gone. They replaced it with basically it's like an LF break where if you build LF high enough, you get a break to perform a mystic art or spam, like you kind of spam like arts, but they made Mystic Arts a lot easier to pull off this time because anyone who knows Mystic Arts and Tales of games are like these really powerful attacks that do tons of damage. And in a majority of them, they're pretty complex to kind of pull off, but now they just made it where all you have to do is get the enemy in the air and press L1 and it triggers a Mystic Art. So that makes it a lot easier. And it's for a set amount of time, so like you can try and get in as many Mystic Arts as possible before the break runs out. And there's no more SP, surprisingly. Like, there's no, like, MP gauge or nothing. Like, orange gels are gone. There's no such thing as orange gels anymore because you don't need them. Basically, you have to charge in order to pull off, like, attacks now. So you charge, and it has, like, a number, and 9, I think, is, like, the max. And once you have, like, 9, you can pull off as much as possible with your, like, 9 gauge until it runs out. If it runs out, then you have to, like, recharge it. The interesting thing they changed here is if anyone's played like Tales of games, normally you're able to like run around freely in the arena and you can just run around for as long as you want. Well, now there's a limit to it. You actually get tired if you run too long, which makes it a lot more challenging because you'll start to run a little bit and your character will eventually start walking, like really briskly walking, extremely slow. So it adds a strategy element, like a really intense strategy element to the game. You really have to focus on dodging and strafing around enemies to really get in a lot of attacks. And if you're in danger, sometimes that mechanic will actually, be detrimental. And here's another problem I noticed, and it sounds like it'd be a really small problem, but it actually is a really big problem with it. I think they got carried away with stagger in the game. Anyone who's played this, you probably noticed this too. Literally every hit you take will result in a 1 to 2 second stagger for yourself. What I mean by stagger is you're standing there for about 2 seconds, helpless, you can't do anything. And they got really carried away, like, so many times. Like, even simple hits will result in me being staggered, and the enemy can just wail on me and get into these massive combos, and next thing you know, I'm dead. So I feel like I died a lot of cheap deaths in this game because I was staggered and just, got punished. But that's a big problem during boss fights. I know it's not too much with like simple characters because usually, you are stronger. There's an alchemy system still, but they changed it to where it's a lot more simpler and a lot more approachable for people who didn't like to do alchemy in the other games. All you have to do is combine 2 items and you create a new item. An interesting thing is you can actually create brand new weapons that you can't buy. So you'll take a weapon, like a normal weapon you buy from the store. So you get a material, you combine that, and you get an all-new weapon that's the only way to get it is through alchemy. Like a good example is the sword I have right now. It's called like Zephyrus. It's like a blade I combined with like a soaring windstone. I combined that, and that blade I've had for 8 hours so far in the game, and it is still stronger than every weapon I've come across. So it just gives you an idea that you can get some pretty cool weapons if you start like dualizing and using alchemy. And another big issue that a lot of people probably notice too, invisible walls. Invisible walls are everywhere in this game. What I mean by that is you'll go to a place, like say there's a, residence, like a simple residence hall or just a house. You go to it, there'll be a pop-up bar. Your character will have a pop-up and it says, this place is irrelevant. And, like basically saying, there's nothing here for you to see. So reason I say like that's kind of issue is it kind of defeats the purpose of like exploration a little bit. Like it'll straight out tell you you can't go here, and then it won't let you go there. Like you can't like continue on. Like you can't ignore it basically. And there's like a mechanic where if you press L1, it guides you basically through the story. So which is actually helpful. If you press L1, it'll bring up exactly what needs to be done. So to say, you need to meet with this person, and that's basically your objective. But the invisible walls is really noticeable in the beginning, but as it went on, I started to notice it a lot less, and it seems like they do start to give you a little bit more exploration and freedom. Overroads are gone now in Grace's F. What I mean by that is typical Tales of, you run around an overworld, and it's just like a big map, and you just see like the little icons of cities, and there'll be monsters roaming. Well, they got rid of that now, and basically the overworld now is basically like a dungeon in its own right. It's basically like a linear path that has monsters on it, treasure chests to find, gathering stuff, and that's pretty much gone. It's pretty much like point A to point B. It does feel a little linear at times, but that's just because of how they laid it out, which didn't really bother me too much because I kind of knew where to go. There's no real getting lost. But I think it's actually a surprisingly good game. The characters are actually pretty good. One of my personal favorites is Pascal, who's a blonde and red-haired chick. And I'm actually really thankful for her because she provides a lot of much-needed humor for the party. Like, actually, her dialogue is actually really hilarious. Because I think it's critical because the rest of the characters seem to have almost the exact same tone about everything. They almost have the same attitude, so if it wasn't for her, the party would be extremely stale because they would all be too alike, and one of the girls doesn't really know much about her past, so she kind of learns things as you go on, but I love Pascal. There's some mini games in there too, like there's like a, block pushing mini game that you can get items from, and there's a card game in there, which, actually I don't remember the last time I did this, but they actually do make direct references to other Tales of games, which normally they don't like to do, but there's straight up references to like Tales of Destiny 1 and 2 and Tales of Symphonia with the cards. It's just the cards are basically characters from other Tales of games. I haven't tried out the card game because I need to go back to that city, and I heard later on there is no like Like they just implemented fast travel mechanics, so there's no like roaming around, so you just go from point A to point B. But it's surprisingly well. The game looks okay. I mean, you gotta go into it thinking it is a Nintendo Wii game, first of all, that they just kind of upscaled, so it doesn't look as pretty as like a Tales of Vesperia, but it still looks incredible in like HD. And the story is picking up. I know, like, the story, like I said, is extremely simple, it's extremely straightforward, but I think it's actually pretty interesting, and the dungeons do feel like they have a lot more puzzle aspects to them this time around. But I'm enjoying it. I just can't wait to play some more of it. The skits are still fantastic. I love it so far. Surprisingly, I was surprised how much I actually love it. And on the PS3, I actually picked up a fighting game that I didn't expect to arrive so soon. But I actually imported the Arcana Heart 3 limited edition from the UK because I got it for only like $24, but brand new. But Arcana Heart 3 is actually available on PlayStation Network, but that's the only way it's available. It's only available as a PSN download for like $30, a full game. And I picked up the limited edition because, like I said, it only cost me $24, brand new. The limited edition is absolutely fantastic. Like, fighting games need to take a hint on how to do a limited edition. They did it really well. You can basically get the original Japanese 144-page, really thick art book. You get the soundtrack CD and an actual like custom-made DVD case with artwork. And something that more fighting games should do, you actually get full-color moveset cards with all the characters' moves in high detail for every single fighter, which is really interesting. But if you don't know Arcana Heart, it's a simple 2D arcade-style fighting game. It's really anime, it's really Japanese. Actually, the setting is Japan, so... And it's actually an all-girl fighter. The whole cast is nothing but females. But it's surprisingly in-depth for a fighter because you can choose like different arcanas and they have different effects and abilities. And I kind of found my personal favorite characters to use, but I'm actually really liking it. It's a really great fighting game. And I played some more Uncharted 2 multiplayer with a few friends, Mikey's Monarch and his cousin Skater. And that's a lot of fun. Talk about like a multiplayer game where you can't really take it too seriously because it's a third-person shooter. It's just basically running, gunning, and just a lot of fun. There's a lot of different modes. We were playing like the one where you have to get the treasure to the treasure chest. I think it's called Plunder. Yeah, Plunder. So, and that was just a lot of fun. And I actually did pretty well. Like my first round, I was like 19-8, and I was like, wow, that was pretty good. But it's a lot of fun. It's just chaotic, senseless running, gunning multiplayer. It's a lot of fun. And of course, I've been addicted to this game, man. I'm so close to finishing it, but I still want to play it even though I finish it. That is Persona 3 on the PlayStation 2. I'm like 70 plus hours into this game, which shows how much I love this game. And my god, I can't get enough of Persona 3. The story is absolutely fantastic. The story is starting to take a really intense turn, and I'm just a huge fan of the story. Talk about a game that kind of contradicts, typical RPG on like, something I always, kind of considered I'd look for in RPG is like a sense of scope. So like the sense of like I'm going on an adventure, I'm exploring a vast land, I'm going through all these different areas. Well, Persona 3 takes that and just flips it on its head. It's basically just like a simple area in Japan, and that's it. But where it really picks it up is in the story. The storytelling is absolutely phenomenal. And the dungeon crawling is done really well, and you introduce that Persona aspect, which is like basically like Pokemon. If you know how addicting Pokemon gets, it gets addicting with Persona and trying to get all these new Personas. I literally spent like hours trying to get this one particular Persona. He's called Thanatos, and he's pretty much the ultimate form of the Death Arcana, so he's practically like death himself. But it's really crazy because it starts off where you can fuse like 2 to 3 Personas together, but then later on they introduce where you can fuse up to 4 and 5, so it gets a lot more complex. But that is so much fun. I think I'm at the point where I have about 2 months left in the game. I think it's like December now. But that is a phenomenal game. I can't get enough of it. I do want to get all the other versions of it because there's also Persona 3 FES on the PS2, which I want now, and Persona 3 Portable. I'm a huge fan of it. And the good thing is I still have Persona 4 to get to, which I hear a lot of people claim is better, but a little more lighthearted, which kind of saddens me. I do really like the intense, mature themes of Persona 3. But on the N64, I got this from Play a Liz, buddy who was in 123 Canada Street. And he sent me Diddy Kong Racing on the N64 along with some other games, and I was so happy when I saw the game because I've been wanting the game for so long. You know, I'm a kart racer fan, and people talk really highly about Diddy Kong Racing. Some people even say it's better than Mario Kart. But I played it, I couldn't get enough of it. It was super fun. It's different from a Mario Kart. It feels a lot more like slidey, if that makes any sense. But like it feels like the roads are like practically on ice the whole time. But it's a lot of fun, and it has like different karts where like some are wheels and some are like designed for off-road, some are like boats and some are like planes, and it's a lot of fun. There's also battle modes in there, which is just like kind of like Mario Kart, so a lot of fun. I'm really glad to own that game now. And on the PS1, really, really odd racing game here. Bomberman Fantasy Race. Most people have probably never heard of this because it's published by Atlas on the PlayStation 1, but it is a really odd racer, and it got bashed by a lot of people. Like, a lot of people like to hate on it, but I played it. It's actually a lot of fun. It's a really fun racing game. I think the reason people bash it is because it actually does have a really steep learning curve. Like, it really uses practically every button on the PlayStation 1 controller. So it's you ride like these animals as like these Bomberman characters. They're basically like animals, like you're a jockey or something, and you like hold down X. You can like push them, like, you know, kind of like a jockey would, like whip them hard, and you could throw bombs constantly. So you have to like hold down square and press up, and it determines how far you throw the bombs. Or you could throw them behind you. It gets really in depth because you can throw like bombs slightly ahead of you, run into it, and get a boost from it. It's really interesting. The controls feel a little, you know, kind of loose at times, but from what I played, I actually really enjoyed it. I played quite a bit of that. And on the Sega Genesis, I picked this game up and played a little bit more. I think I cleared the next dungeon. That was Pierre Solar for the Sega Genesis, and I went through the desert dungeon there where it's a bunch of caves, and you come out to this like oasis. So I cleared that, and I enjoyed that. I didn't play too much of that though. And lastly, like Clive mentioned, I picked up, kind of on a whim to be honest, but I picked up Kid Icarus Uprising when I was at GameStop today. And yeah, just like Clive too, I beat the first 3 chapters and played that. But I haven't touched the online play yet, so I'm really curious to try that out. But from what I played, it's absolutely phenomenal. It is an impressive looking game. It's absolutely gorgeous. In 3D it looks gorgeous. Yeah, like Clive said, you do shift between like these flying segments, which feel like Panzer Dragoon or something, or like Space Harrier. And then you go on the ground and you can move around and do like actual melee attacks and stuff like that. The bosses are really cool. It's actually really in-depth. I'm surprised how in-depth it is, but it has a lot of unlockables, kind of like, if you can imagine everything they did with like Smash Brothers, it's basically got that in here too, with like the unlockables, all these items you can pick up. Extremely in-depth, so I actually really enjoy that game. The control scheme, like I said, like I started playing it with the stand right away just because as soon as they introduced the controls, I'm like, wow, it's going to be awkward. So I put it on the stand, and I played it like that the whole time, and it felt good. But yeah, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed it. I'm actually really glad I did pick it up after all.
There's going to be like a lot of replayability on that game.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't wait to try it online. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my games.
Well, I forgot one.
I don't care now.
Yeah, you had your turn.
Oh, come on.
You know what? Beat that boss, and then we'll listen to you.
Yeah, I agree.
All the unnecessary haste.
I know. Look what I have to deal with every week.
Okay, look what we have to deal with every week.
It's because we love you.
We do love you, Techno.
No, what were you playing?
I was playing Sonic Generations on 3DS. And I bought the GG Shinobi Game Gear for the 3DS it's fucking hard. Oh my
Of
god.
course.
It's fucking... Like, you can't run in the game. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And, like, you only have the sword. You know, you don't have your ninja stars or whatever. So, yeah. It's totally different from what I thought, it would be like. So, it's more like the original, when you're saving kids, but you don't save anyone. And you have multiple shinobis, and they're colored different. And, like, each one is, has the different, like, power or whatever. Like, one can jump higher than the other, and so yeah. That's it.
All right.
Alright.
I have a question though.
Yes.
What time is it?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's question time!
Oh my god, you
Speechless.
love that so much. Alright, we have about 4 different questions, and the first one is from Tempest. And we kind of already answered this one, but I'll just say it anyway. He said, did you guys pick up Kid Icarus? If not, are you going to pick up Kid Icarus? How much do you like Kid Icarus, and how far did you get in Kid Icarus?
Yep.
So, like, we've kind of already
I'll
mentioned this, but...
Yeah, I'll kind of have the quickest answer to this. I don't really have any interest in Kid Icarus at the moment because, obviously, I don't consider Kid Icarus an anime-style game, so I will pick it up, but, like, much later in the future. Does the game interest me? Sure, but I'm in no rush to play it anytime soon.
How about you, Techno?
I want to get it, but I'll probably fucking spend the money like I always do, but I should be saving up for the trip to Seattle, for August 31st to September Labor Day weekend, I think, for PAX Prime, but knowing me, I'll fucking buy something.
Yeah, my wife and I we're actually going to be at PAX Prime this year.
Awesome!
So we got invited by the guys from Chargeback Forward, so they invited me out. So.
Oh, nice. Okay, Dan, we kind of already answered this one, so. Let's see. Our next question is from Nick. He asks, is there any video game series that has been dormant, like Kid Icarus, that you would like to see have a comeback?
Oh my god. I got many.
Name one.
Gex the Gecko.
That's a good one.
I got more.
No, just one.
Oh.
Dude, knowing you, you'll probably, be here for an hour.
Yeah. For me,
Can
no, go ahead.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but mine would have to be Boomer's Adventure in Asmic World.
The fuck is
I
that?
have that game.
It's a little it's a cool little Game Boy game where you play as a little pink dragon, and basically you were going around this maze looking for a key, but to get this key you have to dig it up from underneath the ground. Now you can actually dig up holes to bury the other enemies in the game, and you can trap them. It sounds very simple, but it's very fun and addicting. And I have both the American version and the Japanese version, and I can play both of them because for some reason the Japanese one is also in English. So
They did that a lot.
yeah, so yeah, that would be mine. What about you, Completionist?
For me, the first game that comes to mind that I want a revival is Blast Corps.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
For just one strictly simple reason. It's just, basically, if you go to anybody and you ask them, what's the best N64 game of all time, and they'll always say, Ocarina of Time or Super Mario 64 or GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. For me, it's Blast Corps. It just had a certain addicting feeling to it that I just absolutely loved. However, I just think that if Rare went back to the series, there is so much that they could do with it right now. You could make the environments that much more bigger and much more detailed and much more explosive. You could have cooperative play, which a lot of people would love. You can design more robots. You can design more destruction. I would like to see it happen, since like Rare did make another Banjo-Kazooie game and that kind of thing, but I don't really see it happening. But I just think there's a whole ton you can do with the actual Blast Corps series nowadays that would just make it that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's a very good game too.
For me, it's funny you mentioned Boomer's Adventure in Asmik World. It's actually considered a type of genre. It's called Trap 'em Ups. And I don't know if you played this game on Game Boy. It's actually my personal favorite, and it's extremely similar to Boomer's Adventure in Asmik Road. It's called Hyanko-Yo Alien, and it is a insanely fun game. Like, it's my favorite Game Boy game, like, pretty much hands down. Like, you play as this guy who digs holes to trap these invading aliens, and it takes place in, like, a feudal Japan setting. It's got some, like, Japanese music, but it's insanely fun. So you just, like, press A and make the holes bigger, and then once they fall in them, you contract them and kill them like that. So that would be something for you to check out, Clive.
What's the name of this one again?
Hyanko-Yo Alien. I'll have to spell it out for you. It's like
Yeah,
really weird.
please do.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it myself. But for a series I'd like to see come back, and there hasn't been another one of these since like PlayStation 1, really. And that's the Croc series. The Croc series is a really fun... Yeah, the Croc series is a really fun... It seems like really lighthearted, but it's a really fun and extremely solid platforming series. So with some like light combat in there. So I'd love to see like a return to that with the Xbox 360 or something like an HD one. Or, like Naughty Dog can never go wrong with Crash Bandicoot, another one. So...
Well, they don't own him anymore.
Well, they could easily do a spin-off, whoever owns them.
They own Jack and Daxter, though.
Yeah, keep dreaming on a new Jax. Actually, have you heard the... Shut up. Have you heard the rumors of, actually, that The Last of Us was rumored to be Jack's 4? Yeah.
It wasn't a rumor, it was true.
Well,
they were working on it, and then I saw a video of one of the Naughty Dog, like two of the Naughty Dog people, they were working on Jack 4, and they said, this isn't Jack and Daxter, and they scrapped it and made that game. Whatever.
Well, they didn't scrap it. They were so far into the process that they didn't want to lose all that work, so they put it towards like just using it for a new IP, and that's The Last of Us. Because you go that far in a game, you don't want to lose all that development, all that hard work. It's pretty much all that money too is pretty much like a waste. So they put it to The Last of Us.
Okay, let's see. Our next question. This one's basically just for Dan. He asks. This is from Playlist, and he asks, "How's Rebecca?"
She's flat.
She's flat.
And crumpled. Wrinkled.
That sounds so bad.
She is. She's uninflated. Put it that way.
Alright, our last question comes from Phantom Jest, and she asks, what is your favorite genre of anime, and what anime within that genre would you recommend to people who are not familiar with that anime?
Well, I'll start off. For me, I am more of a fan of the actual kind of cyberpunk style of anime, because my favorite anime has not changed in about over 14 years, and that's the original Dominion Tank Police. It's just, there's just something about the humor of that entire anime that I just love so much. But like, Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of, kiddie anime or the collector's type anime. You got to buy all the toys or cards or anything like that. Like, I actually do prefer my anime really dark, really bloody, really violent. But Dominion Tank Police is not really bloody or violent. It has a lot of perverse humor in it. But I think that's just one of the appeals that I actually like on it.
Mine would have to be more kind of like action anime. One of my favorite animes of all time is Bio Booster Armor Guyver. And it's about this kid who comes across kind of like this alien, kind of like a mechanical unit, and he accidentally activates the thing, and it kind of like grabs onto him, it develops him, and it actually turns into kind of like a alien biosuit armor thing where it turns him into a superhero, and he uses that to fight various monsters who are disguised as people. It's a very, very bloody anime, but it's a lot of action, and mainly I just like it because he like I said, he's kind of like somewhat of a superhero, so I highly recommend the Guyver series. There's an older series, and recently, I think in like 2004-ish, they just released a new one.
You do know that there's 2 live-action movies of Guyver.
I do,
right?
yeah. I have them both. The first one actually has Mark Hamill in it, and the second one, I actually consider the better of the 2. But yeah, I do have both of them. I really like those movies too.
I don't really have any answer. It's so ironic, though, that I play so many JRPGs and, that I'm not really into anime just because maybe I play so many JRPGs I don't have time to watch anime.
Oh my god.
I'm not missing much of it, but there are some that I used to watch and some I was interested in. But yeah, I've never really been too big fan of anime. I remember watching series like Initial D and stuff like that because I was a big fan of like racing, the street racing scene, and how they turned that into an anime. And I used to watch like Death Note and stuff like that just because, I don't know, maybe because how I like my RPGs too. I like it to have a really good story, so I'm not so big into like action. The action's cool and all that, but if they have it, but I'm more into storytelling, like really good storytelling. So I guess that's what I look for. I don't know what I'd recommend for that, though. I can't really recommend much since I haven't watched a whole lot. What about you, Techno?
I like pretty much anything. I can watch anything, but I just couldn't get into like Naruto and Death Note. I just couldn't get into those at all. I tried getting into Naruto a lot because I do like that one dude, Kakashi, and but I'd have to say my top animes would be Dragon Ball Z, because I watched that. Like, that was my life back in the day. Like, I'd come home from school to my grandmother's, like all us, cousins, and we'd, sit down right in front of the TV, turn on Toonami, watch DBZ, and then, like, right after that was Gundam Wing. I was like, oh yeah, robots kicking ass. And whatnot, and they had Robotech on, and I do like Sailor Moon. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's quality.
Yeah, Sailor Moon's a good one.
It's all about that Jupiter. But I mean, if you haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, then I don't think you can get into any anime. I like Gungrave too. Trigun, the Initial D, and I have one thing to say about anime. Like, if I watch an anime in English, like Dragon Ball Z, I get to know those characters by those voices they had.
Yeah.
And like, if I try to watch Dragon Ball Z in Japanese. I can't do it. I cannot do it. You know, I don't care what anyone says. It's like, Japanese is best. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, no. I'm going to watch it in English. 'Cause, like,
yeah, it's the same thing. You know, look, I'm actually on your side because, like, I know the hardcore anime fans, they do prefer subtitled over dubbed, but I do prefer to watch dubbed anime. It's not because I'm lazy or I don't like reading subtitles. I do watch both animes. It's like, but the problem I have with the hardcore anime fans is that they're so ready to dismiss the dubs just because that they're Japanese purists, but if they would actually look beyond that, you know, some of the dubs are actually really good, and they can be voiced really well. Now, granted, I've heard horrible dubs, but that shouldn't be an excuse, you know, like to kind of hate on the rest of dubbed anime for it.
yeah, just like, you know, with Yu Yu Hakusho, I watched it in English because it was on Toonami back in the day, and I can't watch that in Japanese. I don't know what. Let me check real quick about. I have a couple, or more than a couple, animes on my computer, and most of them are in English because that's, you know, I got animes and cartoons that I, you know, that I watched as a kid because I want to, you know, if I do ever get married and have kids, I want to show the, you know, my child what I watched back in the day and not have them watching the shit that's on now.
But, yeah, that's all of our questions, so just want to thank everyone for asking questions, you know, and we want more questions, so.
Yeah.
But you guys just want to end it here, call it a night?
Yeah.
Sure.
Pretty much wraps it up.
Cool, and we want to thank our guest for being on tonight. It was a lot of fun just talking to you, man.
Yeah.
Not a problem, guys. Greatly appreciated it, and I'd be more than happy to do it again. And hopefully, we got many more great games to look forward to this year.
Yeah. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you one last time?
They can basically find me by typing in YouTube, www.youtube.com/thecompletionist. If you do type in The Completionist into YouTube, there's actually another gamer. There is actually another Completionist channel out there, but the biggest difference between me and him is that I actually show you how to complete the games, but obviously he's a lot more popular because he's attached to a gaming website and stuff like that. But if you scroll down through the videos, you can easily find me, or my username is just simply The Completionist, all one word.
Alright, cool, man. And you can find me at YouTube as QuickFreeze4, and that's the number 4. You could also find me on Facebook at QuickFreeze's Game Room. Just add me there and like me. It'll be really good. And that's about it. Where can they find you, MrTechnoSqueek?
They can find me on YouTube under MrTechnoSqueek, and just remember the 2 E's. And I also have a Twitter, which is under the same name. And that is it for me.
How about you, Dan? Where can they find you?
You can find me at youtube.com/nostalgicdan1, and you can also follow me on Twitter. I'm NostalgicDan on Twitter, and I also have a Facebook page. It's NostalgicDan, and I occasionally live stream video games at twitch.tv/NostalgicDan, and that's where they can find me.
Awesome. And for this podcast, if you guys are listening to it on YouTube, you can find it as the Press Start Pod. And you can also ask us questions there by leaving a comment below. Or if you could just want to email us, you can email us at pressstartpod@gmail.com. You can send questions there. And you can also send audio questions. We do play audio questions. And as always, you can find us on the averagegamershow.com. You could either download each episode or just stream it right off the website. And as always, again, you can find us on iTunes. Go there. Please give us a 5-star review if you like the podcast. We do appreciate it, and it really helps us out. And we also have a twitch.tv account where we do live streams of future episodes. So, check this out. Follow us there so you know when we're doing live streams, and that'll be great. So, that's about it. But yeah, that's episode 29 of the Press Start podcast. So,
Yay. Thanks for listening.
Almost a 30. Oh my
Good night,
god.
guys.
Yeah.
alright. Well, later, guys.
Take care.
Later.
Bye.